The signal should not have existed. It appeared on the screen like a ghost from empty space. A single blinking light. Weak. Unstable. Almost gone. Inside the research ship Aurora Wing, the control room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Stars drifted slowly across the large front window, endless and silent. Lieutenant Vara leaned closer to the console. Her sharp eyes followed the strange signal. "Run the scan again," she said. The ship's AI beeped softly. "Scan complete." The result appeared on the screen. Vara frowned. "That makes no sense." Across the room, Commander Tauren looked up from his chair. He was a tall alien with dark blue skin and calm yellow eyes. Years of space missions had made him careful and cold. "What is it?" he asked. Vara pointed to the screen. "We're detecting a life signal." Tauren blinked slowly. "Out here?" The ship was in a dead region of space. No planets. No stations. No colonies. Just cold vacuum stretching for millions of kilometers. "Distance?" Tauren asked. 3,000 meters from our position, Vara replied. A few other crew members turned toward the console. Curiosity spread through the room. Tauren stood up. "Show me." The screen zoomed in. A small damaged probe floated in space, its metal surface blackened as if it had survived a violent impact. Vara crossed her arms. "That probe isn't ours." Tauren studied it carefully. "No identification marks." Another crew member spoke quietly. "But the signal isn't from the probe." The room became silent. Tauren looked back at the screen. "Then where is it coming from?" Vara pressed a button. A faint red marker appeared beside the broken probe. "Something is drifting near it." The signal flickered again. "Wait, barely alive." Tauren's voice became serious. "Full scan." The ship's sensors hummed as they searched the empty space. Seconds passed. Then the result appeared. A biological life form. Every crew member stared at the screen. "That's impossible," someone whispered. This far from any planet, survival was almost zero. Tauren's face hardened. "Unknown life form detected near unidentified probe," the AI announced. One of the scientists leaned forward. "Commander, we should retrieve it." Tauren looked at him. "Why?" "For research. We've never seen anything like this before." Another crew member nodded. "It could be important." But Vara shook her head slowly. "Or dangerous." The word hung in the air. Dangerous. Tauren turned toward the window, thinking. In deep space missions, unknown life forms were not rare. But they were often deadly. Parasites, predators, biological weapons. Many ships had been lost because someone brought the wrong thing on board. Tauren looked back at the screen. The signal flickered again. Even weaker now. "Time to life failure?" he asked. Vara checked the reading. "Maybe 30 minutes. The room became quiet again. 30 minutes. That was all it had left. The scientist spoke again, his voice more urgent now. "Commander, we can save it." Tauren's eyes narrowed. "And risk contaminating the ship?" The scientist hesitated. "We have quarantine chambers." Vara shook her head. "You're assuming it's harmless." Tauren turned back toward the console. "Probability of unknown biological threat?" The AI responded instantly. 72%. The room grew colder. Tauren made his decision. "We will not retrieve it." The scientist's face dropped. "But Commander." "We are not risking the crew," Tauren said firmly. Vara nodded slightly. Tauren spoke again. "Mark the location and continue the mission." Outside the ship, the broken probe drifted slowly through the darkness. Beside it, something else floated. Weak. Fading. Inside the control room, one crew member had been silent the entire time. Eli Carter. The only human on the ship. He stood near the back wall, watching the screen quietly. His brown eyes followed the blinking life signal. 30 minutes. That was all it had. Eli swallowed slowly. He stepped forward. "Commander." Tauren turned toward him. "Yes, Technician Carter?" Eli hesitated. Then he spoke carefully. "We could at least take a closer look." Tauren studied him. "For what reason?" Eli glanced at the screen again. "It might not survive without help." Vara folded her arms. "That is not our problem." Eli looked at her. Then back at the blinking signal. He imagined something out there. Alone. Dying in the cold darkness. Tauren's voice cut through the silence. "The decision has been made." Eli didn't answer. The signal blinked again. Weaker now. Tauren returned to his chair. "Prepare to leave this sector." The engines of the Aurora Wing slowly powered up. Outside, the stars shifted slightly as the ship prepared to move. Vara began closing the scan window. The blinking signal almost disappeared. Eli stared at it. Something inside him twisted. 30 minutes. Maybe less now. The ship's engines grew louder. They were leaving. Eli looked around the control room. No one else seemed to care anymore. To them, it was just another unknown object in space. Another risk avoided. But Eli couldn't stop thinking about it. The weak signal. The dying life. Slowly, quietly, he stepped away from the wall. No one noticed. Tauren was focused on navigation. Vara was closing the scan logs. Eli walked toward the exit door. His heart beat a little faster. The signal blinked again. Still alive. Barely. Eli stopped at the doorway and looked back at the screen one last time. 30 minutes. Maybe less. He made his decision. Without saying a word, Eli turned and disappeared into the hallway. Minutes later, deep inside the ship, a small emergency shuttle began powering on. And outside the ship, the dying signal flickered once more in the endless darkness. Unaware that someone was now coming for it, Eli's hands trembled slightly as he entered the small maintenance bay. The emergency shuttle hummed to life, its systems barely holding together after years of neglect. He had no orders, no permission, only a single thought: he could not let it die. Outside the viewport, the broken probe drifted farther away. The weak signal was still there, barely flickering in the void. Eli gritted his teeth and keyed the shuttle's thrusters. Each pulse pushed him closer to the dying life form, deeper into the silent emptiness. The rest of the Aurora wing would not notice for hours, if at all. The shuttle shook as Eli approached. Instruments flickered with unstable readings. He squinted at the small red marker on the display. It pulsed faintly, a heartbeat in the darkness. When he reached it, the shuttle's doors opened into space. Eli held his breath. He reached out with a long mechanical arm and grabbed something fragile, wrapped in thin ice-like material from the probe's damaged surface. He didn't look too closely, afraid of what he might see. "Hold on, please," he whispered. Inside the shuttle, he created a small containment area. He carefully placed the fragile being inside, surrounded by makeshift life support panels. A faint warmth pulsed under the glass. It was alive. But barely. Eli exhaled, relief washing over him. Then a flicker on the shuttle's sensor panel made him freeze. Unidentified energy spike detected. He frowned. Nothing should have been moving. Not here. Not now. The life form stirred slightly. A tiny flicker of movement. Eli felt his pulse quicken. He adjusted the support systems, feeding it oxygen and stabilizing energy. It was slow, almost imperceptible, but it was moving. That small motion made him feel a strange mixture of hope and dread. Hours passed. Outside the viewport, stars drifted, silent and indifferent. Inside, the shuttle was cramped and tense. Eli watched the small being as it shivered, occasionally making tiny noises that he could barely hear. He didn't know what they meant. Were they pain? Confusion? Fear? Suddenly, a loud ping made him jump. The shuttle's sensors flashed. Another energy spike, larger this time. He frowned and ran diagnostics. "Impossible," he muttered. "Nothing is supposed to be here." The readings grew unstable. Lights flickered. The shuttle's thrusters shivered unexpectedly. Eli gritted his teeth and tried to stabilize the system, but every fix seemed temporary. Something about the life form was interfering with the electronics. He shook his head. "It's just scared. That's all." But he could feel it too. A strange presence. Something watching. Something aware. Eli knew he couldn't keep it hidden for long. If the Aurora wing found out, there would be punishment, possibly execution. Bringing back unknown life forms was strictly forbidden. Yet he couldn't turn back now. He decided to risk it. He monitored the small being through the night. Its movements grew slightly stronger, its energy faintly pulsing like a heartbeat. Eli felt a strange connection forming, though he didn't understand why. Then came the first warning signs. The shuttle's instruments began behaving oddly. Screens flickered, showing readings that made no sense. A panel sparked briefly, and a low hum vibrated through the metal walls. Eli frowned and checked the life form. It hadn't moved, yet the energy fluctuations continued. It was as if something invisible was responding, or reacting, to its presence. Eli's skin prickled. "What are you?" he whispered. Suddenly, a sharp thud shook the shuttle. Eli stumbled, heart hammering. The life form twitched violently, its tiny body straining against the containment. Lights flickered across the cabin as another panel sparked. He rushed to stabilize the systems. "Stay calm," he muttered, mostly to himself. It's okay. I'm here. The thrusters pulsed erratically. Instruments beeped warnings. Something beyond the shuttle was moving in response to the lifeform, something massive, he was sure of it. But outside, nothing was visible. Only the black void. Eli's mind raced. If the crew discovered this, they'd demand it be destroyed. If he lost control, both the shuttle and the lifeform could be lost. He glanced at the containment. The being's tiny pulse of energy flickered brightly once, then faded. Eli felt a chill run down his spine. A sudden alert made him spin around. The shuttle's sensors were picking up something approaching, fast. Too fast. And it wasn't on any charts. What the? Eli whispered, heart racing. He adjusted the shields, but the system was lagging. The object, or presence, was already too close. The life form pulsed violently, reacting to it. Its energy flared faintly, sending sparks through the shuttle's panels. Eli realized with sudden fear that whatever was out there had noticed it too. He swallowed hard. No, not yet. The shuttle trembled again. Lights dimmed. Something large moved just beyond the viewport. A shadow? A shape? Impossible to tell in the darkness. The life form's pulse brightened once more. It seemed alive, aware, struggling. Eli's stomach twisted. Outside, the void was silent. But he could feel it. Something watching. Waiting. Eli's fingers tightened around the control panel. He had broken every rule in the ship's manual. He had done something forbidden. And now, something had noticed. A sudden thump shook the shuttle again, louder this time, reverberating through the hull. The life form shrieked, a sound unlike anything Eli had heard before. His heart jumped. He stumbled back. The sensors flashed a final warning. Unknown object in proximity. Imminent impact detected. Eli's eyes widened. He realized in that moment that saving it may have drawn something far more dangerous to them than he ever imagined. And from the shadows outside the viewport, something stirred. Something waiting. And it was moving closer. The shuttle shuddered violently as the unknown presence approached. Eli knew one thing for certain. They were no longer alone. And whatever was coming, it would not forgive mistakes. Eli clutched the control panel as the shuttle shuddered violently. The unknown presence outside pressed closer, a silent weight that seemed to press against the thin metal walls. He could feel it, a cold awareness that crawled under his skin. The life form inside the containment unit quivered with each tremor. He glanced at the sensors. They were flickering uncontrollably. Readings jumped from 0 to levels that didn't make sense. Come on, stabilize, please, Eli whispered, his voice shaking. Sweat ran down his forehead. Every warning alarm made his heart pound faster. A sudden jolt threw him against the wall. The shuttle's lights flickered and went dim. Eli scrambled to restore power, hitting buttons blindly. Sparks flew from a panel and a low, grinding hum echoed through the cabin. Not now, he muttered, panic rising. The life form reacted. Its small body shivered violently. A pulse of energy flared through the containment field, short but intense enough to make the shuttle vibrate. Eli stumbled back, shielding his face. Outside the viewport, shadows twisted in the darkness. He couldn't see it clearly, only movement, fleeting shapes that made his stomach twist. Something was circling the shuttle, sensing, testing. Eli's chest tightened. I shouldn't have done this, he whispered to himself. I wasn't supposed to. Then the shuttle jolted violently again. This time, a metallic screech cut through the air as one of the outer panels buckled. Air hissed from a small breach. Eli's eyes widened in horror. The life form pulsed again, its energy flaring in response to the damage. This time, the light reflected against the walls in strange patterns, almost alive, almost sentient. Eli stepped back, trying to breathe. Stay calm, stay calm. Suddenly, the shuttle's communication console crackled to life. A distorted voice came through. Shuttle. Aurora Wing, report status, anomaly detected. Eli's hands shook as he tried to respond. It's stable, mostly. Static swallowed his words. The message repeated, now more urgent, almost desperate. Something had picked up their location. He didn't know if it was the ship or something else. He pressed himself against the wall, listening. The hum outside the shuttle grew louder, like the pressure of something massive moving around them. Eli could feel vibrations through the floor. Then came the first strike. A sudden blast hit the shuttle's side. The cabin rocked violently. Sparks flew from the panels and air hissed from a new tear in the hull. Eli grabbed the nearest strap to steady himself. His heart raced. The life form reacted instantly. Its pulse flared brighter, shaking the containment field. The energy seemed to fight against the shuttle's damage, almost like it was resisting the danger. Eli stared in shock. He had never seen anything like this. What are you?" he whispered, fear and awe tangled in his voice. Another jolt rocked the shuttle. Instruments went wild. Lights flashed red. Outside, shadows moved faster, almost as if they were dancing around the shuttle. Eli realized they weren't just random movements. Something was tracking them, testing their strength, waiting. He tried to stabilize the shuttle, fingers flying over the controls, but nothing worked. Every fix lasted only seconds. He could hear creaking metal, feel the thin hull groaning under the pressure. Eli's mind raced. If the shuttle's shields failed completely, the life form inside could be lost, or worse. He couldn't let that happen. Not after everything. Calm down, he muttered, but his voice betrayed him. His breathing was uneven and sweat ran down his temples. Fear clawed at his chest. Then came a sharp crack. Something hit the shuttle again, harder this time. A panel cracked open and a small shower of sparks sprayed into the cabin. The life form screamed, a high-pitched strange sound that made Eli's ears ring. He staggered back, eyes wide. No, stay with me. Outside he saw it clearly for the first time, or at least a glimpse of it. A massive shadow moved across the stars, enormous and silent, yet its presence was suffocating. He couldn't tell its shape, only that it was alive, intelligent, and aware. Something hunted them. The life form pulsed one last time, brighter than before, almost like it was calling out. Eli froze. The shadow outside paused, almost as if it had heard something. For a moment there was silence. Then the shuttle shuddered violently again, the containment field flickering, threatening to fail. Eli's stomach dropped. If the field broke, he couldn't imagine what would happen next. He gritted his teeth, fear and determination warring inside him. Hold on, please just hold on. The shadows outside twisted again. The unknown presence moved closer than before. Eli's breath caught. And then, a massive, silent force struck the shuttle, sending it spinning uncontrollably through space. Eli was thrown against the wall. Panels exploded in sparks, alarms screamed, and the life form screamed with him. Everything went dark. And in the silence that followed, Eli realized with horror that they were no longer drifting alone. Something was coming for them. Something huge. Something that knew exactly where they were. The shuttle spun slowly in the dark void, alarms screaming, sparks flying from the fractured panels. Eli pressed himself against the wall, chest heaving, heart pounding. The life form inside the containment unit writhed, its energy pulsing brighter than ever. Something about its glow felt alive. Aware. Intelligent. Eli's hands shook as he scanned the broken instruments. The massive shadow from before was still outside, circling, waiting, probing. But then something strange happened. The life form inside the shuttle reacted. Its pulse of energy spread through the metal walls, flickering across damaged panels, almost like it was speaking, sending signals. Eli's eyes widened. "You're talking?" he whispered. The voice barely left his lips. He didn't know how it could communicate, but somehow he could feel it. The shuttle's sensors picked up something new. Tiny energy bursts, faint and patterned, appeared across the void. Not random. Deliberate. Someone, or something, was responding. Eli's stomach dropped. He pressed a hand to the containment unit. "Who's out there?" A sudden vibration shivered through the shuttle. The shadow shifted, and now for the first time Eli caught a glimpse of its outline, a massive form, elegant but terrifying. He blinked, trying to comprehend its size. It was enormous, beyond anything the crew had seen. But it didn't attack immediately. It seemed curious. Eli stepped back, voice trembling. "It's watching us. Watching him." He gestured at the life form. "He's not alone." The lights flickered again. A sharp ping echoed through the cabin. The sensors flashed. The shadow outside wasn't just one thing. There were multiple signals moving toward them from the depths of space. Eli's chest tightened. No, this can't be." The life form pulsed again, brighter this time. Its small body seemed to lift slightly, floating inside the containment field. And then Eli realized, the life form was reacting to the approaching signals. Its energy connected with them almost like it recognized them. You know them?" Eli whispered, voice shaking. Fear and awe mixed inside him. Suddenly the life form emitted a loud, high-pitched scream, but it wasn't a scream of pain. It was a warning. A signal. The shadow outside recoiled slightly as if it understood. Eli's eyes went wide. It's not the threat," he said slowly. It's calling something, or warning something. The sensors went haywire. Streams of energy pulsed across the displays. Eli's stomach turned. The readings were impossible, too precise, too intelligent to be random. The life form wasn't weak. It wasn't alone. And it wasn't just some unknown creature drifting in space. The truth hit Eli like a physical blow. His hands shook as he realized the scale of what he had done. You're part of something bigger. Something powerful. A shadow shifted again outside the viewport. This time, Eli could see the edge of something massive like a huge ship or organism, moving toward them with incredible speed. But it wasn't attacking. It seemed controlled, deliberate. Eli's heart raced. He had saved this being, thinking he was doing something small, almost insignificant. But now he understood. By taking it aboard, he had sent a signal across space. A signal that reached far beyond what the crew had imagined. Eli, a voice crackled over the shuttle's intercom. It was Commander Tauren, calm but firm. We've detected massive energy readings in your sector. Explain immediately. Eli's hands shook as he tried to respond. I didn't mean. The life form pulsed violently, interrupting his words. It seemed impatient. The energy inside the containment field surged, feeding into the shuttle's damaged systems. Sparks flew, but oddly the shuttle stabilized slightly. Eli's eyes went wide. It's protecting us? Yes, a voice echoed, not from the shuttle's comm but in his mind. Or maybe from the life form. Eli couldn't tell. The words were simple but they carried weight. Do not fear. They're coming. We must survive. Eli's stomach twisted. The shadow outside shifted again. More signals appeared on the sensors, hundreds of tiny flashes converging toward their position. And then Eli understood fully, the life form was not just alive. It was a messenger, a guardian, and part of a larger species with abilities far beyond human comprehension. He stepped back, panic rising. What do we do? The life form pulsed once more. Its energy spread across the cabin, lighting every panel in a blinding flash. And then, outside the viewport, he saw something impossible. Shapes, enormous, shadowy, intelligent, emerging from the blackness of space, moving toward them, drawn by the life form's presence. Eli's eyes went wide. They're coming for us, or, because of him. The shuttle shuddered as the first massive shape drew close. The unknown beings, whatever they were, radiated power far beyond anything Eli had imagined. Fear clawed at him, but beneath it, a strange hope flickered. The life form pulsed violently again, almost as if it were preparing for what was about to happen. Its energy spread outward, filling the small shuttle with warmth and light. Eli took a deep breath. He had no choice. Whatever came next, he had to trust the being he had saved. The shuttle trembled violently once more. The shadow outside lunged forward. And then everything went silent, except for the faint, pulsing heartbeat of the life form. Eli's mind raced. This is it. Whatever happens next, we have to survive. And from the blackness beyond the viewport, a massive shape loomed, moving closer with deliberate intent. Eli swallowed hard, gripping the controls. He had no idea if he was ready. But he had no choice. The unknown was here. And it had found them. The shuttle shook violently as the enormous shadows closed in, surrounding them from all sides. Eli pressed himself against the control panel, knuckles white, heart hammering. Sparks flew from the broken displays. The life form inside the containment unit pulsed brighter than ever, sending waves of energy that made the shuttle vibrate. Eli swallowed hard, voice trembling. I don't know if we can survive this. The life form's pulse intensified. It floated slightly above the containment floor, its small body glowing like a star against the dark metal. Then, almost in a voice only Eli could feel, it whispered, "Trust me. We can." He took a deep breath, nodding to himself. "Okay, I trust you." Outside, the first of the massive beings lunged toward the shuttle, moving with terrifying speed. The hull groaned as the force of their approach pressed against it. Eli slammed buttons trying to keep the shuttle steady, but the controls barely responded. The life form reacted instantly. Its energy flared outward, touching the walls, the panels, even the viewport. A wave of light shot into space, striking the nearest shadow. The massive creature recoiled as if burned. Sparks and small explosions erupted outside. Eli's eyes widened. It's fighting back. A second shadow moved in. Faster, larger. The shuttle rocked, alarms screaming. Eli held onto a support strap as the life form pulsed again. A beam of energy shot from it, striking the second shadow with perfect accuracy. The massive being froze, almost staggering, then retreated slightly. Eli's chest heaved. His fear was still strong, but a small spark of hope grew inside him. You can do this," he shouted. The life form pulsed even brighter, releasing a wave that rippled through the shuttle. The walls shook violently, but somehow the energy stabilized the damaged panels. The containment unit glowed like a shield, protecting both Eli and the fragile life form. Outside, the remaining shadows hesitated. They were massive, intelligent, and aware. But they weren't mindless predators. They paused, observing the life form. Eli realized with sudden clarity, the creatures weren't attacking because of hatred. They were responding to the signals the life form had sent. And now they were being shown a choice. Eli gritted his teeth. "You've got this, don't let them take us." The life form pulsed once more, brighter than ever. Energy rippled outward and the shadows recoiled. One massive shape lunged closer, faster than the rest, and the shuttle rocked violently. Eli slammed himself against the floor as the containment field flared. A brilliant flash of light filled the shuttle, so bright that he had to close his eyes. When he opened them, the shadows were gone. The void outside was empty. Silence returned. The stars drifted slowly across the viewport as if nothing had happened. Eli sank to the floor, trembling. What just happened? The life form floated calmly now, energy dimmed to a soft glow. Its pulse still radiated warmth, and Eli could feel its calm. Somehow they had survived. The shuttle's systems were damaged but functioning enough to stabilize the vessel. Eli stared at the life form, a mixture of awe, fear, and gratitude in his eyes. "You saved us," he whispered. A sudden chime from the intercom made him jump. Commander Talrin's voice came through, tense and sharp. "Technician Carter. Status report. What's happening in your sector?" Eli swallowed, voice shaking. "Commander, we survived. I don't know how, but the life form I saved, it protected us." Silence followed. Then Talrin's voice was calm, but with an edge of disbelief. "Explain, Carter. Now." Eli glanced at the containment unit. The life form pulsed once, softly, almost reassuringly. He took a deep breath. "Sir, I rescued it. It fought for us. Those massive beings out there, they were responding to it. It wasn't attacking us, it was warning us. And it saved the ship." A long pause. Then Talrin spoke quietly. "You risked everything for it?" Eli nodded. "Yes, I couldn't let it die. It wasn't just a creature, it was alive. And it mattered." Another pause. Then Talrin's voice softened. "Carter, you may have just done something none of us would dare. Bring the shuttle in. We'll debrief. And we'll need to understand what you've encountered." Eli exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. He looked at the life form. Its small body pulsed gently, energy now calm, almost like it was smiling. He whispered, "We made it, together." For the first time in hours, Eli allowed himself to relax. Fear still lingered, but hope had returned. He had faced the unknown, defied orders, and survived. Outside, the void was quiet. But Eli knew better than to trust it completely. The vastness of space held countless mysteries. And somewhere out there, the massive beings might return, or something even greater might be watching. He glanced at the containment unit. The life form's pulse synced with his own heartbeat. They had formed a bond, a connection that went beyond language, species, or orders. Eli smiled faintly. "We're not alone. And we survived because we chose to care." The shuttle powered up fully, engines humming steadily. Stars streaked past as it navigated back toward the Aurora wing. Eli sat back, exhausted but alive. The life form floated beside him, calm, glowing softly. He realized something important. This was only the beginning. The universe was vast. Full of danger. Full of mysteries. But together they could face whatever came next. And for the first time Eli felt ready. Somewhere deep in the blackness of space, a faint shimmer flickered. A shadow of what had come before, or something new, watched silently. Eli didn't see it, but the life form did. And Eli knew instinctively that one day their journey would continue. For now they had survived. And that was enough. The pulse of energy from the life form synced with the shuttle's hum, a quiet promise that the bond between human and alien was only beginning. And somewhere in the silent expanse of stars, the unknown waited,